Yo, welcome to the Solo Spoken Podcast. This is episode 48. I'm Angelus, and with me is Morris.
What's up?
Mike, Breezy.
Yo. Dang, whole name?
Hey, man, got to sometimes. And then last but not least, Mr. Dream Vision. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you, fam?
Doing well, doing well. This episode, we'll be talking about a few things. We've got Jamil Hill, the whole ESPN situation, which in my opinion is super fucked up. We have our typical fuck Donald Trump segment and a few other things that we'll be discussing. So let's kick it off to Morris. Morris, you can start us off talking about what's first on the agenda.
Well, first, on top of, before we get into anything, the Executive Tea. The Executive Tea is a website dedicated to politics and current events. You could follow them at the Executive Tea on Instagram. They reached out to us and asked if we could give them a shout out, and that's what we're doing. So go check out their site, follow them on Instagram, most importantly. That's the Executive Tea at Instagram. And I mean, the first thing I want to talk about, because we didn't really get into it because we cut them off, I want to talk about dreams. Can you please tell us a little? Well, right now, PewDiePie, who is a big gaming personality, he has like 50-something million subscribers, and he was racist again. I want to emphasize the again.
Again.
He
dropped he dropped the N-bomb while playing on his stream. And this is
did that
he's
shit
had
so
incidents
casually.
before where he like dressed up like a Nazi for skits. He paid people to hold up offensive signs to make some sort of point about apps. I'm not sure what his point was, but this is like the third or fourth time that he's done something racist. A lot of people are upset about that. A lot of people are defending him for some reason.
I mean, that's to be expected, though.
And I feel it has a lot to do with white people. I mean, white people don't encounter racism very often, even like as a spectator of it. But I feel like in video games, as someone who plays video games a lot, I see it a lot. Like I see it way more in video games than I do in real life, honestly.
Yeah.
That leads us to Dream Story. Dreams, go ahead and tell us your story about your Overwatch session.
Yeah. So my story in this particular instance, because it's one of many, I jumped into Overwatch as I might do on any given night. Decided to play a little bit of competitive. And one of the first games that I played this particular night, this was a couple of months ago, but again, it's fresh like it was yesterday. I jumped into this match. It was on a map called Hollywood. The name is not special, but just the fact that I remember it so well. I got in there. I was by myself just playing a solo queue. And got matched with a group of, I think it was 3 and like one other random person. So we're just sort of sitting around waiting for the round to start. And what I have found in my time in gaming is that if you don't make yourself known as a person of color or something like that, people will just sort of assume that you are probably white, probably a white male. And they will toss out jokes and comments and commentary as if you were. So in this particular instance, the round starts. People are cracking jokes. I'm not saying anything because I wasn't in the mood to interact with these kids at that moment. And this let me rephrase it. I didn't want to interact with these young men, because I don't think any of them were kids. They sounded like grown-ass men. So the round starts, and for those who have played Overwatch, you don't necessarily know which characters or which heroes are on the other team until they come around the bend and make themselves known. Well, in this particular case, the enemy team had a Pharah. A Pharah, for the uninitiated, is one of the black characters, one of the several black characters in Overwatch. She flies, shoots rockets, whatever. She came around the bend first. And as soon as she came around the bend, one of my teammates, with all confidence and all glory and bass in his voice, yelled out, "They got a fair nigger in the trees! They got a nigger in the trees!" And I said to myself, I said, yeah. I said, did this white man just say there's a nigger in the trees when talking about this black character in this video game? Damn, he sure did. So naturally I had to confront him. I said, I'm sure you weren't aware, but you have a black player on your team. And he got real quiet. He got passive for about 15, 20 seconds. Then he sort of tossed out a casual joke, and the team laughed it off, and the match continued. But it just sort of demonstrates to me sort of the same kind of casualness that a lot of white people will simply engage in racism unprompted for no apparent reason, with all manner of creativity. Let's just go straight to racism for no apparent reason, just like PewDiePie did. And I feel like a lot of us have stories like that, which bothers me.
I hear it a lot in Grand Theft Auto, especially from little kids. Like, as soon as I get into a session, "Fuck you, nigga." I'm like, okay. New session. Let's go. Fuck that. I ain't like that.
Yeah, if you play Call of Duty online, that's the only word you're going to hear is nigger. Like, that is it. It's some permeation of that word. It will be uttered at least 20 times per match, per map, per day. It's going to happen. You just, I personally stay muted, and after a while, I'll probably mute people I'm playing with, because it's just a matter of time before the word comes out, know? And it's basically, that is the life of honestly, for people of color, but in particular, a black gamer. Like, that is like most white gamers' go-to word for when they are upset. And it's really strange that is in your vocabulary, and that is a word that you utter in anger, like, as just your go-to word, period. It's like, and then when they say it, they are shocked when people are like, "Holy shit, you fucking serious right now, my guy?" And they're like, "Oh, who doesn't say these words when they're angry?" The rest of us. The rest of us don't say it when we're angry. Right. Like, I've been seething with rage many times in my life, but I've never thought to start uttering expletives to people and shit like that. It's never been a thing for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm playing a video game and I'm like upset, my first thing is to go, "Wow, Hitler may have been right." Like, that doesn't come out of my mouth. Things like that, things like that don't come out of my mouth. I'm just like, well, shit, I got killed. Fuck. I usually just quit the game at that point. That's the extent of how I take out my anger, is a shit, a fuck, and a quit. That's it. Those 3 steps. But white gamers, they just casually, this fucking nigger chopped me. I'm like, where does it, I know where it comes from, but it's just like, seriously? And then you have so many people who defend it, it's not really racist, they didn't really mean it. We don't know what's in their heart. Like, shut the fuck up.
What you mean? Heart?
What the fuck do you mean?
It's Captain Planet or some shit? The fuck out of here. No.
And then what usually happens in a situation like with PewDiePie, where the fuck his name is that he'll utter out a bullshit, non-apology apology, and white people are like, "Oh, you're forgiven." Like, excuse me, who the fuck are you to speak for us?
Ironically, this dude, straight up, was like, "Oh, people get mad or something like that. I really don't care." He was nonchalant about his use of it, and then wants to put out a minute and 30-second apology or whatever about it later. Like, come the fuck on, dog. You don't get to say it like that, first of all, and then second of all, and then immediately afterward, don't repent after, just oh shit, what the fuck did I say? Even because there's been instances of people saying the N-word on stream or whatever. Like Maximilian, for example, he said it, but it came out of a word jumble. It was an accident. He came up and fessed up to it immediately afterward. It took this nigga 2 days to even come with an apology video. He gets no leeway from me at all. There's no accident to it. He did it on purpose. It was malicious. Mm-hmm. I mean, it didn't have to be towards a black person. The fact that he used it as a pejorative, in the first place, it means that I know where it's coming from. It's coming from that racist basis. You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, there's like, it's just like, I'm tired of people like trying to defend it. Like there's something to defend there. There's nothing to defend. There's no accident. There's no, I don't feel any sense of actual regret because of the comments immediately after saying that. And it lets me know that, and then the way, I think what he said, like, oh, I forgot I was on live stream. Boom. You say it when you're like not, when you're just around friends or some shit like that.
Right.
I don't want any part of that at all. And I wish YouTube would just snatch everything, like ban his channel and everything, but they ain't gonna do that shit because that's they look, that's their money tree right there. They ain't gonna fuck with it. But I just, he really needs like some type of comeuppance. It irritates me because what he does affects everybody on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much power this dude has. And it's because of him during his, like, the Jewish stuff or whatever and the Nazi stuff like that. That's the reason why YouTube currently has the adpocalypse, where YouTube, of course, has this algorithm where they pretty much, like, are demonetizing videos if they seem a little, not ad friendly. And that's never been a problem before. Like, you really wouldn't have a problem with the advertisement themselves, but now there's issue because of PewDiePie. So it's like, first of all, he's using like pejoratives, like in racist, remarks in general. And now he's fucking up everybody's, money. Mm-hmm. So it's, and people are still defending him. Like, how can you defend this dude when he's fucking up your money? Like, come on. Fuck that. Ugh, it's garbage as fuck.
I think that the reason why, especially white people defend other people when they do racist things, is there's this implication that, this guy's white who said this racist thing, I'm white, therefore, by proxy and proximity, of whiteness, everybody's thinking that I'm racist too. And it's like, no, like, I probably said these words before as well, but I know in my quote unquote heart of hearts, I'm not a racist, therefore, this guy can't be racist either because I'm a big fan of him. And it's just like, no, he is. Like, just accept it that somebody that you're a fan of is a racist piece of shit. And go about your day. Yeah. And to what Mike said earlier, about, the guy issued out an apology like 2 days later. Honestly, it could be 10 minutes later, 2 days. I never accept any of those apologies as sincere. I read those apologies as, I apologize that you got offended and I got caught.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it was, too.
Yeah. So, like, when I hear these dudes apologize, it just only reaffirms to me, like, yo, you're a piece of shit. Yeah. And that's it, really. Like, because the fact that that word is in your vocabulary and you can say so casually, that just tells me all I need to know about you.
Mm-hmm.
And like what Mike said, it's so clearly coming from a malicious place. Mm-hmm. Because this wasn't like Endgame where he's telling his teammate, like, good job, N-word. Like, he immediately corrected himself and was like, oh, you fucking asshole. Like, that's what he meant. Like, that's the synonym for him,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so exactly how he uses that word. And it's not that any white person should be using it in any fashion, but in the specific way he uses it, there's no wiggle room out of that.
Right.
Yeah.
The people defending him kind of piss me off more because it's like, it's always these same ass, tired ass, a word is a word, black people use it all the time. I'm like, this is just, like, why do white people want to say nigga so much? Like, dude, just, like, let the word go. Like, do you want to be racist that bad? Like,
yeah, I mean, we quote unquote took away a word they were using for like 250 years, man. Of course they want to use it again. Like, it was a word that was like a common part of the vernacular to describe a group of people who they didn't like, only applied to us. But,
the reason why they keep wanting to say it is just like they can't get out of their own dumbass bubble of like systemic racism. They can't get out of that because they think like a word is a word. Like, what kind of fucking logic is that? If words were just words, we wouldn't be having half of the problems we had in the fucking first place. Like, that means like you pretty much subscribing to that anarchist type, nothing matters type bullshit that I just like hate from white ass people sometimes. Like, it pisses me the fuck off. It comes from that same line of thinking that you get like, both sides, man, are terrible. And it's like, No, it all comes from their fucking like that white privilege ass bubble that then they can do and entitled to certain things that you're not. You're not entitled to that fucking word at all. Context, nuance, all that means things. It's not just a word. It's had plenty of history. And the fact that we've taken it and reappropriated into something more positive for us, not y'all, don't mean that you just can't use it. That's it. That's all you got. It's hard. It's easy. Just stop using the word. It's easy. I don't use gay as a pejorative anymore at all.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That's something I did when I thought it was acceptable. But, you know, as you get older and you realize that, you know, I'm using it as a pejorative, it means I cannot use it like that. You know? Simple. I stopped using it.
The concept
really
is not
isn't.
that hard. And then what you were saying earlier, how like they like to argue that, you know, a word's just a word, quote unquote. It's really funny that they always say that, but as soon as you call them racist, though,
boy, you call somebody fat,
they get
don't
so pissed
fat.
at you.
You shaming now.
It's only a word until you say something that affects them and hurts them. All of a sudden, it's like, whoa, dude, you're going too much, bro. Like, okay, cool.
It's because the whole argument's nonsense.
It is.
Words have meaning. That's how language works. We all agree that they mean things. And to expand on that, there's an article from Waypoint, which is the Vice gaming blog, where they talk to some developers, and Jeff Kaplan, from the guy who does the developer shit for Overwatch. Mm-hmm. He talked about how toxic the community was when the game launched, and finding a way to implement reporting tools into the game actually took significant, and still continues to take away significant resources away from things like adding new maps and new characters. So racism is literally slowing down these creative types that are working on video games, because they have to deal with these racist assholes who think words don't have meaning when they use them.
Well, you know what's surprising to me is that his team was not prepared in the first place. This isn't new. You know, we like this goes back to like voice chat racism goes back to the original Xbox Live, right? To Dreamcast probably, right? On PC before there was regular voice chat, people were text typing their racism. You know, and so like for him, who I would assume has been in the business for decades, to have been caught off guard by racism and the need for reporting tools.
Isn't that just the definition of white privilege? Like didn't bother him up until
he wasn't affected by it, so he didn't care about it.
Yeah, it must be nice.
Yeah,
I think I did have one more thought on the PewDiePie aspect of this. I am not especially familiar with him. I've never watched his videos, nor do I have any interest in doing so. But I do have a real concern about the lack of appreciation for the words that he uses and the influence that he has over his audience. As has been pointed out on many occasions over the last several days, most of his audience is very young. And this became clear to me when I watched the most recent, I believe that the YouTube show is called the Double Toasted. They usually do movie reviews. And they spent some time talking about this situation. And one of the sort of the guest opinions that they took was from a young man, a young brother. I think he might have been in junior high school, young black kid. And he spent most of his time defending PewDiePie.
Oh God, no.
And you know, the rest of the Double Toasted guys were like, nope. But this kid, he was like, no, you know, I think this is being blown out of proportion, and you know, he didn't really mean it, and you know, his influence is strong enough that he's affecting the better judgment of young black kids who are even hearing what he's saying and are going out there defending him, which in turn, of course, provides all of the cover that every white person would ever want. Oh, the black guy over here said it's okay, so I guess it is. And
they just got to find that one black person.
That's the only time an individual black person means something, apparently. But okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And my last thought on it was really about the apologists. You guys already touched on people apologizing. My only thought that I wanted to add was that it's important, I think, for our white friends brothers and sisters to know that when one of your white brothers or sisters does something racist, you don't get to be the person to accept their apology.
Show as fuck don't, man.
Because I keep hearing you guys wanting to accept his apology and move on. That's not your call to make. It really, really isn't. And until you understand that, we're going to continue to have considerable problems with situations like this and in situations like this.
Damn right.
I feel that.
Well fucking stated, my guy. Well fucking stated. Because they tripping balls of this whole, he's forgiven. Like, by who? Who are you? Like, your melanin lacking ass does not get to fucking say that. Like, go somewhere.
So PewDiePie gets to go back on his YouTube channel and stream more video games. And then on the flip side, we have Colin Kaepernick, someone who has quantifiable talent, who has been blackballed by the entire league, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had a few discussions about it in the past week, in general. And I'm starting to realize that maybe for him, I don't really think he even cares anymore. Because you notice he doesn't say too much about the situation too much.
I mean, every time he speaks, people fucking take it out of fucking context and use it to attack him.
Yeah. Yeah, but it just seemed like he like, I don't think he cares. I think he cares more about his activism now than anything else. Which, shout outs to that. I appreciate that. And I've been hearing like a lot of people have like debates about it. I actually had a debate with my mom about it a few weeks ago. And I'm really starting to see like there's from black people specifically, I'm starting to see, well, it's something I've always saw, but never really it didn't really hit me till my mom started having comments about, well, maybe it's in the wrong place. And I was like, oh no, not you. Anybody but you. But I had to kind of let her know, because like, I feel like sometimes us as black people, we don't understand protest ourselves. That's why you get like a lot of young people like, well, protests don't even matter and stuff like that. You'll get that sentiment because, we don't understand what they are actually for. We don't, understand like what Colin did was really simple, really basic. And that's exactly what Martin Luther King and pretty much most people in the civil rights movement, and even people outside of the civil rights movement, for gay rights and stuff like that, when they want this, when they protest, it's meant to be a disruption. It's meant to be a way to get people to notice what you're doing. It's the whole point, is to take notice. And if you think, Kaepernick was being disruptive, yeah, that's the point. It's not meant, it's meant to inconvenience people in a certain kind of way. I mean, what Colin did was actually pretty light, to be honest. To be honest,
I was about to say, I don't think he even he didn't disrupt him.
He didn't, but he did at the same time because people pissed off about it. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing though. Like, people got pissed off when they finally noticed it. He had been doing it for like the entire preseason. It wasn't like that was the first time he did it.
Yeah.
He literally had been doing it for like the entire preseason. And finally a camera, caught him doing it. And somebody was like, oh my God, look at him. He's disruptive. Oh, it's like, fuck off. Like, y'all are not even upset about it because, man, y'all just upset because it was a black guy doing it. If it was a white dude, people were like, oh, his First Amendment right, bro, freedom of speech. It's just because it's black, nothing more.
A lot less.
Yeah. But I think when it comes from black people, especially like the Cleveland Browns example, the head coach there, I think a lot of the cases, and I'm condemning it for sure. I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody that is that line of thought, that has that opinion that he shouldn't have did it there. He was the wrong spot. It's the fact of the matter is that sometimes we are too defensive about our own, beings, like we're more concerned about, jobs and, trying to feed our families sometimes than we are about the movement. And that's more dangerous, and that lets them win every time we kind of step back, like, well, I need this job. I understand there's ways you can protest without losing your job. Trust me, I know. But I think in a lot of instances, when we do that, we kind of shut down our brothers and sisters that are trying to make movements. Mm-hmm. You're better off just shutting up about the situation. 100% of the time, if you're going to say something like that, just shut up.
Yeah.
But some people don't. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you can always show support. You like, I support Colin, if anything. But I think in that instance, when I heard my mom say, I had to kind of break it down. So it was like, look, I don't, for one thing, I don't think he cares anymore. I think he cares more about his activism than him getting playing football. And I feel like when you say stuff like that, you're killing the message. You know, and to hear from another black person is hurtful, because this dude is like put his career on the line for you, pretty much, and the rest of your people. Football is probably was probably like his first love or something like that. I don't know his story completely, but that's something he loved. That's something he put his life on the line for, because football, yeah, we all know about the health history of football,
Yeah.
and he put his career, probably his Hall of Fame, his prestige and everything on the line just to kneel. Something simple as that, and people are getting upset about it. It's not just about him, causing disruption. It's for us to, do better and be better. And she kind of like, okay, I got you. I was like, thank God you got me, because, oh God, I was going to be mad at hell at you. but, I think for a lot of us, we kind of understand, like, when it comes to protesting and stuff, that the disruption is on purpose. Even if it's not supposed to be like a huge disruption, any talk. Cause I think, to be honest, any type of discourse is good. As long as people are talking about it and it's in the minds of people, that's good. You know what I mean? No matter how stupid the conversation can eventually get, and it will, because we've seen some dumbass conversations. But as long as it's on the conscience, that's a thing that people like to do. They like to escape from shit like this. Anytime there's a racist action, yeah, exactly. So to keep it in public conscious, I can't think of her name, the trans model that was a part of L'Oreal or whatever, speaking out on
Monroe.
Yes. Constantly keeping it in the conscious is probably like one of the best forms of protest we can possibly do. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate her for that. She put her career on the line, and bam, look what she got. Some more offers, a whole bunch of offers, especially from other black women, So it's not just about, not everybody, that's not going to happen for everybody. But, the fact that, somebody can speak out and still do what they want to do is dope. And I just kind of want to get that little point across before we got too far into it, because I just felt like hearing it from black people was really disappointing. And I just want our listeners to really kind of just understand what protesting is for. It's a sacrifice. And what we're sacrificing our careers, money, well-being for, is for the future to be a little bit easier. That's all it's for. It's to make the future a little bit easier for us. It's not going to be done in one night. It's not going to be a one and done. No, we've been fighting this for years now, and so, you have to keep up the fight in multiple ways. If it's kneeling, if it's going to protest, if it's voting, if it's multiple ways we can do this, but don't shut down your black brothers and sisters because you just don't, for some reason you don't agree. Just be quiet in your own little corner, or whatever.
Go tap dance somewhere else.
Yeah, Daffy Duck somewhere else, and just leave the movement alone if you don't have anything to add.
But I just wanted to say that Colin also had the opportunity to walk it all back, and he didn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And to me, that means even more than his original stance, because when he first protested, he was still under contract, and he did put his next contract on the line, and now we see exactly how. But for him to, stand by his convictions sends an even stronger message than his original message, in my eyes, that he's willing to not make the several $million he would have made this season in order to be able to continue his message. Which brings us to our next topic, another sports-related thing. Jemele Hill from ESPN was on Twitter and accurately described Donald Trump, and she got in trouble. So she was on Twitter and she called Donald Trump a white supremacist and said that he was surrounded by white supremacists in his administration. ESPN apparently pulled her aside and said how that was inappropriate and unacceptable. The fallout of that was even more interesting in my eyes. She went to Twitter. She didn't take back a single word she said. She said that it was unfair to ESPN because she knows she represents them as a company, and what she said doesn't necessarily reflect the beliefs of ESPN. But after that, we found out that ESPN actually was trying to pull her from her show that she co-hosts and her co-host refused to go on the air without her. And so in response to that, ESPN went and found in their ranks 2 other black journalists to take their spots.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You didn't hear about this part?
Yeah.
And I don't have their names. Someone could get their names. They both refused as well. So they refused to sub in for Jamel and her co-host on the 6th. And so that's why they were allowed to continue to be on the air. Because of their co-worker solidarity.
Yep.
That's
Okay, Dreams?
that's some bullshit, fam. Did y'all see Bamboozled, the movie, the old Spike Lee
It's been a
movie?
long time since I've seen that.
There was a scene when the tap dancing brother, I can't remember his name anymore, but he was out there and he refused to go on the stage, and the white director of the show came out and was like, nigga, you ain't special. I can find 10 other niggas just like you and that can get out there and shuck and jive just as well as you can, blah, blah, blah. And then he had some guy, another tap dancer come in his place. And it just immediately flashed me back to that scene, because it's like, wow, not only would you attempt to replace them, but you gonna try to replace them with 2 more black people as if
No one would notice.
As if nobody would notice, and as if they would accept that, knowing that they would get blackballed by the entire black community if you did that. Come on, fam.
Yeah, it was Michael Eaves and Ellie Duncan. They were like, yeah, we're not doing that.
Hell no.
I don't think ESPN counted on. I really don't think ESPN.
Solidarity.
Yeah, they didn't think that was a thing. It was like, oh, we'll just get these 2 other niggas. Like,
That was probably exactly how they worded it too in the company email.
yeah, probably they're probably sitting there all white meeting like, so what are we gonna do about this? And like, oh, we'll just get 2 other niggas and call it a day. Like, okay, cool. And then they called up Michael and Ellie, and they're like, nah, that's a no-go.
You know what? ESPN is looking mighty damn unfamiliar all of a sudden. I see they gave Sage Steele a new spot. Shit.
She's back.
Yeah. They got, she doing ESPN in the mornings now. I don't know.
I'm trying to build her back up slowly.
I mean, she's the only good one they got. They're like, you know what? She's the only one in the sunken place. We need to hang on to her. Because apparently the other ones, they are not taking our shit. No. But I mean, yeah, Michael Smith was like, he's not going to do the show without Jamil. So ESPN was like, well, we'll just get 2 other ones. And they were like, yeah, we're not doing that. You got to fire all of us. And they were like, oh shit, we can't really do that. An all-white
firing
network.
people all year.
Yeah, like, if we get rid of all the black people, we're going to look mighty racist. Huh.
That's
that one time that racism works in our favor, boy. Woo! It's like, can't fire all of us, can you?
That's honestly shocking news to have heard. I did not read that. That's where this situation turned.
Oh yeah, man. ESPN they basically were like, you do realize we're white guys. We're about to do some really white shit right now.
Damn. All right.
This is shattered dreams like no other news. He's going to cancel all of his DVR settings for ESPN. They're done.
That's some bold shit, fam. We gonna replace you. Not just replace you, but replace you with 2 other black people. Damn.
Just phase them out. Just phase them out. Like that didn't make national news or anything.
You were just going to turn on their show one day. You're not going to see Jamil and Michael. You're going to see Michael Eaves and Ellie. You're like, wait, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, life goes on. Nope. Didn't happen like that. Surprise. Y'all don't look alike.
Yeah, and that shit even made to the White House or whatever.
Yeah, Sarah Huckabee.
Their response was like,
fire her. Imagine that though, right? The White House is telling you to fire an employee. If that's not a blatant disrespect of the First Amendment, I don't know what the fuck is. Like, people always like busting nuts over the First Amendment, but when you see a clear violation of it, white people are quiet as shit. Like, oh, well, this is a little bit different situation. She represents the company. Like, dude, shut the entire fuck up. Like,
I hate that so much. They have disclaimers for that very reason. So if anybody goes off kilter, in any situation. It's not even like this is off kilter or anything, but you know, if anybody just goes little crazy or whatever, they can, you know, say, oh, you know, we don't, you know, this person does not, you know, reflect the views of, they've been doing that for ages. So I'm like, why are people like just going crazy over it now? It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, well, I know why, but you know, it's just, it's one of those things I'm just like, white folks. Just say it under your breath, like, here we go, this bullshit again. It's like, and the thing
Whites
is,
are at it again.
the thing is, it's like, you know what the sad thing about it is? It's not really a controversial statement at all. You know,
It's not. It is fucking racist.
It's like nowhere near a controversial statement. Like even white people have been saying it. White people have been saying it for like it's been on magazine covers, it's been in articles, it's been everywhere. White people saying it, and then when she says it, ESPN host of all things, sports host, you know, like that should be so under your radars that it doesn't even really matter. You know what I mean? Like you expect, you know, political pundits to probably get more in trouble for that. I bet you they would. And I bet you a white Democrat can go up there during the Senate hearing and say the same exact shit. No, nothing. You wouldn't hear a word about it.
I mean, it's because she's black and a woman.
Yeah, I already know that. I'm just saying, you know, I'm just adding on to the emphasis I'm giving here. You know, it's just like frustrating to
It
keep
really is.
hearing the same shit. We don't get the freedom of speech, you know, talk or whatever. Where y'all at?
That shit
where
only
y'all
applies to
freedom of
white
speech
folks,
at?
dude. It literally, like, the entire Constitution Bill of Rights only applies to white people. People always forget, like, we were added in as a fucking addendum. Like, our shit is not a right. Our shit's a privilege that's revoked at any time. Like, people always like, oh, your forefathers. Like, no, bitch. Your forefathers. Mine had nothing to do with this piece of paper right here. At all. But, I mean, yeah, with Jamil, it's just like, she was a black woman who said it, so it's just like doubly insulting the white folks. They're really like, oh my god, how dare she? And like you saw some people like talking about some she needs to quote unquote learn her place and stick to sports commentary and shit like that. And it's like, yo, you had an entire fucking news network for 8 years called Obama fucking Muslim terrorist, like flat out, no code words, and nobody got fired. But all of a sudden, you know, a black woman says a factual statement that can be verified that this nigga's a racist, and it's like, oh my god, that's the president of the United States. Show some respect, America. Like, man, shut the entire fuck up. Like, get out.
Yeah, man. We can't do shit pretty much. This pretty much every time like something like that happens, you can't even go to the store to get some food. You know, we can't play with toy guns, the kids or whatever. We can't have like a little pool party with some girl getting roughed up. You can't be mad at school without some security officer thinking he fucking, you know, big body policeman body slamming little girls and shit. It's the same shit. It's basically just reinforcing that this isn't our country at all. It's not for us. And they keep reinforcing it, and people keep, and not people, like white people, and maybe people that don't understand racism, you know, they keep saying like, why are you so mad? I'm like, can you not see? Or you just want to be ignorant? And most of the time it's the latter, you know, they just want to be ignorant. I think it's a willful ignorance. They live in their little peaceful ass bubble, shit goes down, and they always gotta make excuses for every little bitty detail. Every fucking time. It's something. PewDiePie says, nigger. Oh, he didn't mean it. Words are words. Jamil, right? It's Jamil, right? Yeah. She says, from white supremacists, oh, you can't say that about the president. Okay. Getting pulled over for a, you know, turning signal or whatever. Guns get pulled out. Like, damn, dude. That's an easy mistake. You know how many people on a day-to-day don't use their turning signals? And don't even get pulled over? And I see, oh my god, this shit happened so much when I was doing Lyft. Dude, I've seen cops sit there on the side, like Georgia State Patrol, sit there. White dude, I can clearly see. Did not even use his blinker. You know, expensive ass car, I think it was like a Mercedes or whatever. Did not use his blinker. Cut in front of his car, dude. Like, just cut in front of him, no signals, no nothing, just cut in front of him. Police got didn't do nothing. I go up a few miles later, this black guy in this, I want to say, in this like 2008 Impala did the same exact thing. Whoop, whoop. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. The dude you could have stopped, who could have paid a ticket, more than likely, easily. But, you know, you gonna stop the black dude? I'm like, okay. So it ain't about it's so the common excuse is that cops worry about their quotas or whatever. But in that instance, I'm like, dude, if you really want to get a quota, why ain't just get the rich white dude in the damn Mercedes?
I mean, really, if you really want to hit your quota, just go to a white neighborhood. Them fuckers break laws all the time.
Exactly. So I'm just sitting there just looking at this shit, like listen to my music, like.
Well,
really?
A New York cop broke it down. He's like, they tell you to go to minority communities because there's immigrants there and there's people who can't afford to take time off work to fight it in court. They typically don't have connections. He's like, if you pull over some banker who's going 90 in a 35 in his Beamer, he may know a judge, he may know a lawyer, and he may get out of that, and you may have just wasted your time. And maybe worse than maybe he knows your boss. Like shit like that. Like cops are scared to go after everyone equally because of the power disimbalance in America.
Well, I feel like we saw that with the Ferguson unrest, if I recall correctly. Where the police department, we found out that the police department had, a million warrants for arrest out on people for, nonsense. If I can't remember all the details anymore, but it feels like it was something to that effect. So yeah, we see that.
And we got a handful for Charlottesville. Yep.
And to go back to Jamil's comment that Donald Trump's a white supremacist, he again released a statement saying that Antifa is violent, and he still hasn't condemned white supremacists. He's condemned Antifa twice now.
So have we returned to both sides again? Is that where we are?
We've never left both sides, man.
And he very explicitly states that Antifa's the other side, which implies what side he's on. So let's get into this fuck Donald Trump segment.
My favorite segment.
We missed a lot since our last show. Manafort got his house raided. Bannon got fired.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that. Resident Evil, T-Virus, Bannon, yeah.
He went back to the sewers with his red balloons.
Great movie.
What else has went on? Oh yeah, his response to the hurricanes has been fun. Which is like, he told the people in Houston good luck.
Damn, sure did.
That's fucking amazing.
I was like, dude, what?
Good luck, homie. And he got on his helicopter and peaced out. Sucks to be y'all.
Not even a simple "we'll pray for you." Nothing. He just said good luck. Like, damn, dude.
Honestly, I'd rather take a good luck than my thoughts and prayers with you. Like, that's like the most empty fucking statement any politician can ever make. That's literally just, I don't give a fuck, but here are these 3 words.
I mean, but at least that sounds like you're trying to sound like you give a fuck. Good luck is just
but every politician uses that for every event ever. School shooting, my thoughts and prayers. Baby died, thoughts and prayers. Like, nigga, you're a politician. You have the ability to actually make change happen, man. Like, so fuck a thought and a prayer. Like, thoughts and prayers don't make any changes happen.
Wait, thoughts or thoughts?
Mike, please.
Just making sure. But yeah, and his like pretty much non-response to Irma this past weekend, and Mexico had an earthquake.
Oh, we need to pause for a second because all 3 of you, in your own way, were affected by Irma.
I wasn't.
He gonna laugh about it too.
Oh, Mike's in Georgia, up in Atlanta. Angelus and Dreams are in Florida.
Angelus is a vagabond. I don't know where
Angelus
he actually
dipped
lives.
as soon as he heard about Irma. He left the state.
Right. But yeah, all my shit's fine. Orlando wasn't actually that bad at all, honestly. I feel bad for people in Keys, man. Damn. They got destroyed.
Ooh.
St. Martin, 90% of the whole island was destroyed, man. Like, I have never seen destruction like that in my life. I was like, damn. Fucking Mother Nature, man.
It was for us here in Southeast Florida. The build up was pretty dramatic. We didn't know where it was gonna end up, and I was sort of stuck in the position where I have family down here, and I wanted to leave early in the week, but the family didn't, and I couldn't leave them here by themselves.
You didn't put them on your private jet?
I'm having to stay as well. I thought about it, but it didn't work out. But
I don't even know if you're joking.
For So for us, we wound up losing power on Saturday afternoon, maybe about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we didn't get it back until about this time yesterday. Yesterday evening. For those of you who have been in South Florida in the summer months, it is not a comfortable proposition to be in, 90-degree heat and humidity,
no AC.
With no power, no AC, none of those sort of creature comforts, and nowhere to go to get them. Oof. I think was the big challenge. Most of the time, if your AC breaks down or your fans aren't available, you just go somewhere. Right. You go to the mall, you go to a movie or something, and you cool off, you go to a restaurant, and none of those things are available. Right. Everything is shut down. Everything is locked up. We were under curfew for, I believe the curfew started at like 5 o'clock, in my city. And so, it was a long week of just the preparation and the worry of watching the slow moving. It's almost like a horror movie, watching
right.
the villain like slowly walk after the victim. It's like, okay, what's it gonna do? And, seeing how it ravaged the Caribbean. And then, seeing it, slowly hit the Keys, and, the thing was so big that, by the time it got to the Keys, we were getting wind gusts over where we were because the thing was just, this massive cloud. Well, as it turned out, it didn't hit our side of Florida too much. We had some pretty good wind. I want to say we saw some pretty good gusts, maybe up around 100 miles an hour, something like that. But, nothing like what it could have been if, any of those other projected tracks had become reality. Yeah. So we feel very fortunate and blessed here that it didn't, hit this side of the state, because I don't think this side of the state is anywhere near as ready as the people that stayed thinks it is. And, the unfortunate loss of life, you certainly feel for all of those families and, and all of the people in the orbit of those people who lost their lives, including the morons who went out there trying to surf, 40 foot, 50 foot waves.
16-year-old, yeah.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, but we're glad it's over. But it's still hurricane season, so
right.
We have to continue to be ready.
Atlanta was okay for the most part. This just felt like a basic, like, heavy storm that we had. That's pretty much how hurricanes happen up here most of the time. Like, the last bad one we had was, I think it was like the hurricane after Katrina or whatever. That was like really bad. It actually forced, like, cause I remember, we was out of school for like most of that week. Cause it was like, it did so much damage, but this, it was very spotty and only like a few areas got affected. But I did see a lot of like, refugees and stuff from Florida. They came to my job buying shoes. I'm like, dude, you going to Nordstrom to buy shoes during a hurricane, dog? I guess that's a lot of money, but yeah, I'm like, you can go to a Foot Locker or something, right? But anyways, just talked to a lot of, cause some people stayed there because we had the Florida-Alabama game over in Georgia or whatever. So a lot of people actually stayed because they're like, what's the point of me going back? You know what I mean? So, it was pretty interesting. A lot of people, we got like a lot of customers there. A lot of people in the mall. It was just like, you can tell people were really trying to get their minds off everything, because they were like, if you talk to them, like, yeah, I'm just so worried about my family down there. I'm like, you still have family down there? Like, yeah, we had to leave because we're close to the, like, I think they were from Miami, I think. I was like, okay. God, it was a somber tone that weekend, pretty much that entire weekend. And we made sure we had like the news up for the families and stuff like that were there. But otherwise, it was like another storm pretty much here, and a few power outages and stuff like that.
Yeah. What people tend to not necessarily realize about Florida is that it is either the longest or the second longest state in the union, like from bottom to top. And that drive from Miami to the top of the state of Florida is like a 9-hour drive in good traffic. And so, with the hurricane traffic, it was like, if you weren't out of the state if you weren't out of South Florida by like Thursday night, you might as well just find a shelter, because we're talking about like 14, maybe 16 hours, on the road just to get out of the state.
Yeah, that was a common complaint. I heard people coming back from vacation was like, man, I had like the longest drive back. I'm like, yeah, I imagine so.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a lot of people from Savannah also evacuated too.
Okay.
Yeah, my friends evacuated from Savannah. I forgot where they
I got
went.
a few friends over there. Yeah, my friend went home. He's like, I'm going home, bro. I'm like, shit. You better go home, bro.
Yeah, you know, so Southeast Georgia, the part that's on the Atlantic got some pretty heavy weather too.
Yeah.
They're dealing with quite a bit of flooding.
About 2 fatalities, I want to say, in Georgia. I haven't kept up with it because my cable been out, so I haven't been able to keep up with it like I wanted to. But yeah, it's been rough. I also want to say a few things about Harvey too, because I had family in Houston too, and they yeah, they made it out okay. They got some flooding. They haven't told me like specifics. I don't know if they want to just keep it to themselves or whatever. That made me worry. But yeah, they were saying it was hell up there, and seeing the pictures and stuff like that. Because if you ever been to Houston, Houston's a really flood heavy city. Like the way their aqueducts and the way there's like systems set up and how flat the city is by itself, it's like it's so flood heavy. I've traveled there during a flood pretty much on a flight because that's how common it happens. So when I heard that Harvey was like category 4, I'm like, oh shit, because I'm just like, oh my god, and traffic there is like really, really bad, and I'm just like, people are not going to be able to evacuate in time for that. Yeah. And it was like, I was checking up on them like every day because that was like one of the scariest things to me, because it was like, I can't, really know what's going on with them 24/7 because, it's one of those things where like a lot of people were like losing contact or whatever. So I was like making sure they were good, because I just know how bad it could possibly get.
Mm-hmm. And I apologize on behalf of the unlearned question, but does Houston sit below sea level? Because I was sort of shocked to find out that they had levees. It's like, damn, levees, that sounds like New Orleans. Is that?
Yeah, it's pretty much like New Orleans. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it's been a rough 2 weeks for a lot of people in the States. I know California still got wildfires going on.
Do they?
Yep.
Oregon's got some wildfires going on too.
I see.
Like,
yeah.
I think what helped propagate Oregon's freaking wildfires were kids were playing with fireworks in the woods. And I was like, that's crazy. Yeah, and then people were like, oh, they're just kids. That's what kids do. I was like, okay, this must be a white thing. Because not once in my life have I ever decided to go into the woods to play with fire. That just sounds, no. Like,
that's why they had Smokey the Bear, dog.
I don't know, man.
I can't comment on that because I'm a country boy and we always play with fireworks.
But do you go in the woods with them and shit?
No.
See, I really think that's like a white childhood thing. Like, I just don't. I honestly don't see people call like, "Hey, dude, let's go into the fucking woods, smoke up, and shoot some fireworks." Like that.
Smoke up.
I mean, now you got my attention.
It's like a bad decision, Morris.
Yeah, it is. Next thing, because Morris, if you start a forest fire, they're not gonna be like, "Oh, he's just a kid. Like he's a fucking Mexican. Get him."
I'll be deported so fast, and I was born here.
Right? Exactly. They will just straight up revoke your shit. Like, well,
we also forgot to mention DACA.
That's very true.
Damn.
Fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So for those who somehow do not know what the hell DACA is or what the issue is, which would be really sad that you don't know this, Donald Trump has decided to end Obama's executive order for DACA, which is the Dream. I don't know the acronym. I'm going to try. But basically, it allowed children of...
I got you, fam. It's a deferred action for childhood arrivals.
There you go. Dreams with the knowledge right there. But basically, it was an executive order set up by Obama that allowed the children of immigrants to basically stay here and get their education and contribute to society. Now, the main thing with this is that DACA kids, they cannot get social welfare programs. Any of them. They do not qualify for any of them. However, these kids pay taxes. So when you think about it, these kids are like, people are arguing that, they are a drain on the system. When in reality, these children of anybody else in this country literally are not, they are the opposite of a drain. They are a boon to this country. And there's over 800,000 of them in here right now. And Trump wanted to get rid of that program, saying that, got to be tough on immigration, get rid of all the illegals, quote unquote, build the wall, his white nationalism rhetoric that he's been touting since before he ran. As of right now, though, he struck a deal, or he's in the middle of being played by Nancy Pelosi and what's the other guy's name?
Chuck Schumer.
I wanted to say Schumacher, so I wanted to make sure. But yeah, Chuck Schumer. They are on the verge of striking a deal in which the DACA kids can stay and Trump doesn't get his wall built, which to me is the most hilarious thing ever, that, they're able to pull this win out if they do indeed do it. But right now it's still up in the air. So I'm hoping that the DACA kids get to stay, because really, out of every group living in here in America outside of Native Americans and obviously African Americans, really, everybody else is a damn net drain on the society anyway. So, I mean, that's my view on it. And along with the DACA program, Trump, he unveiled his, I forgot what the fuck it's called, some new initiative on streamlining the immigration process. And basically, he had like these criteria that people need to meet in order to come here. One of them is make more than $75,000 a year. Yeah, exactly. If you can continue listening, it makes no sense. So you have to have a combination of these things: $75,000 or more, investing into the economy. I think it's like 1.5 million or something like that as your gross investment. It's a lot of crazy things that honestly most Americans wouldn't even match, or meet. And so it's
damn sure don't make that shit.
Yeah, like I looked at it, like, cause you can go online to, I want to say New York Times. They made like they showed up the survey, and it would tell if you qualified or not. I don't qualify for shit. I was like, well, damn, let me pack my bags, But honestly, if America wants to revoke my citizenship and give me citizenship somewhere else, I'm fine with that. I have no ties to this country. I hate this country, honestly. So,
Jesus.
If it was up to me,
I'm not
I would
get
sell
any
this
sponsorships for this podcast.
I'm just saying, man, like American exceptionalism is a poison to this country, because, our country's exceptional except for when we're not. And then when we're not, it's because, we didn't include the exceptions to it that would make us number one otherwise. It's just, this country can be so much better than what it is and what it strives to be and what it thinks it is. And it's just like, it's sad to see it squandered so much on frivolous shit. Like, we're so far right. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm pretty sure out of all the first world countries, we are the most right of any country that would be considered first world developed.
Are we?
Yeah.
Not Russia?
Russia's not a first world country. They're a second.
Oh, they are? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, the more you know. That put a lot of shit in perspective right there.
Think about it, right? Every time you see the country comparison list, what is the very first thing we always say is, oh, we're doing better than insert third world country here. It's never we're doing better than these first world countries. It's always we're doing better than Israel or Iran or Afghanistan. It's like, okay, I would hope so. It's like, that's not something to brag about at all. We should be ashamed that we say that.
All right, I got you. I just, every time I see like lists like that, I kind of like blank out on the U.S. I'm like, we ain't doing shit. Every time I see one of those type of lists, I'm like, we ain't doing shit. I don't know what people think that we are.
We getting killed in every metric, and it's sad. It's like, damn, one day, right? Can we be number one in something other than guns and killing people and army?
Asking too much.
That'd be dope. Apparently. Can't get healthcare, but we get some badass jets, though.
Think that's about it, though, right? Ain't shit popping other than that, right?
No, yeah, I think that we hit all our topics. Remember, sowellspoken.com. Check out the Executive Tea on Instagram. Anything else? You guys got anything to add?
Watch Insecure. That's it.
Yeah, dude, season 2 finale was wow.
Last week I got through season 1 and like the first 3 episodes of season 2. Okay. Yeah, I need to watch Insecure. Yeah.
Yeah, there was I think it's a Vox article. No, it's not Vox because it was a black guy talking, so I know it wasn't Vox. But there was a Mike.com article on what makes Insecure so good. And like to me, I thought this was amazing because I love color grading and things like that. And they were telling us how they light black people. I was like, yo, this is so lit. And it's like they just basically put a foundation that's very, very reflective on all of the people there. And so it makes for great lighting in any circumstance. I'm just like, yo, somebody who gets it. Because Star Wars tried to do the same thing, but with John Boyega, they just made him sweat in every scene. That shit had me dying when I learned that. I was just like, y'all just couldn't go to the store real quick and get some like fucking reflective foundation or something like that. Like, y'all had mans out here sweating and shit while everyone else is like cool off.
Man's not cool.
Hot. That's why bro looked tired in every scene.
Yeah, because like they actually had him
exhausted.
sweat in every scene so that he would reflect the light correct. I'm just like, dog, y'all are just. I hate y'all so much.
Like that sweat, the sweat could have been its own character pretty much in the entire movie.
And that's the thing that kills. It's like it was literally an easy fix. There are like so many makeup companies that make like very reflective, foundations.
But they're not
like
accustomed to it.
Oh, but you didn't have like one person like who does makeup.
Don't.
Like, hey.
That's the problem. That's why Insecure's lighting such a phenomenon because no one has fucking done it.
I think they said it was somebody else that.
Moonlight has really good lighting.
Moonlight, yeah. But yeah, that was when I saw that I was like, oh shit! So, damn, are they doing that for Black Panther? Is you gonna have niggas sweating that?
Of course, they're gonna have
they better.
For Black Panther it's gonna be lit. So I have no pun intended, but like you ain't got to worry about that.
And that's exactly why it's important for diversity in film.
It really is because y'all can't be having us out here fucking sweating and shit. Just to get your shot.
Like Chicken George and shit.
Yeah, like we out here sweating while our white coworkers are just sitting there cool. It just brings back bad memories. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
What's this supposed to mean?
Yeah, like what is this? Is this symbolism right here? Is this what's happening? Are you trying to tell me it can always be worse? Is that what you're insinuating right now?
Yeah, see you guys for 49.
Sounds good.
All right, next month.
Yeah.
See y'all next month.
It's probably not inaccurate.
Shout out to Bevel, who hasn't got back to us yet.
Respond to our emails, Tristan Walker.
Can't keep ignoring us, fam. Well, you really can't. We're on the come up, B. Like, you might as well just accept this now and just give us our sponsorship.
I know this is year 2 of this begging. And it doesn't seem maybe to you that we're in the power position, but we are. So please respond to our emails.
Let them know, fam.
I'm not even asking for a lot, really. I just want my own bevel line like Rihanna. Yeah. Like, just give me my own bevel line, gold-plated clippers.
Aiming high, man. I feel you.
Got to, bro. Might even get them rose gold plated. Like, boom. Like, if you see your barber with my line, he a good barber. Or he might be trash, who knows, but
he's got good taste in clippers, at least.
There you go. He might fuck up your fade, but your fade will be fucked up spectacularly well with bevel.
Damn, tagline right there. Boom.
There you go.
All right, I'll see you guys.
All right.
Peace.